Right, we are the Hebrew Israelites, come out week in, week out to prophesy the downfall of Babylon the Great, America, Britain, and the so-called European countries, what are ruling. They call them NATO at the moment. I'm going to say double honours to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yeah, double honours, salutation to the Akim. Got the faculties.
That's right, salutation to the Akim, which is meant to be in truth. Okay? And then blessings to the elect.
Right, yeah. Right. Rockefeller Yahweh, Rockefeller Yahweh Shai, Rockefeller Yahweh Shai. Right. We're in detrimental times. You know that. We're in detrimental times. You know there's going to be food shortages, there's going to be famines, there's going to be death and destruction on the earth. Yeah? Why? Why would that come? Why would there be death and destruction coming on the earth? Because it's time for payback. Slavery. Should have never put your hands on us. We are God's chosen, and now it's time to pay up. Thus saith the Bible. All right. So get me let's see. No. Get me I had it on my mind just a minute ago. Oh, just get me Zephaniah 2. Yeah. It's right to preach the Bible. The good book, they call it the good book. Yeah? Because in the schools they don't teach you about the Bible no more. Why? Because it talks about slavery, lamentations and woe. It talks about a specific people what went into captivity, were called the Israelites. It talks about God's chosen. It talks about the redemption of God's chosen. It talks about a detrimental time for the nations what put the children of Israel in captivity, in slavery. Right? I know you want to sweep it under the carpet, but it has to be talked about. There's been no justice, there's been no recompense for slavery. But as you can see now, it's happening. Yeah? You got Russia pointing their missiles at everybody, and that's in the Bible. Did you not know that? Did you know that slavery was in the Bible? Slavery of the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? It's all in the Bible. Yeah? So get me that, and then we're going to go to Deuteronomy. Let's surgically go into the Bible and show you that the slavery of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is in the Bible. But get that, Zephaniah 2 and 1.
So Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Who's got the longest hair? I don't know. Go and read that.
Yeah, gather together, O nation of desire.
Right, it says gather yourself together. Who's it talking about, gather yourselves together? Is it talking about blacks and whites? No, it's talking about you Israelites. You're the ones that are segregated and hate each other. You're the ones that got black on black, well, we've got white on white crime now, and that's, I've got to give a round of applause for that. Russia versus UK, white on white crime, let's give a round of applause. But it's talking about gather yourselves, the Israelites. Because why? Because we're coming to the time where the Lord has decreed that He's going to start turning up the forcing. These prophecies are really going to come to pass now. Right? And you're not desired because you are the chosen. You got the law, statutes and commandments. You got the blessing coming to you. And that's rulership of the planet. Yeah? But a lot of our people are not ready. That's why the Lord has an elect what are preparing. They're preparing themselves for the second coming. Now read that.
Before the day passes the trap.
Right, it says before the decree bring forth. What's that decree? The Lord has decreed that in the last days He's going to use intercontinental ballistic missiles to dissolve this earth, to clean it up. All the filth was in the world today. It needs cleaning because we've got a people who's ruling that's called the Edomites, the lowest of the low. They call themselves white people. Yeah? The Edomites. Let's see what the Edomites look like. This is what the Edomites look like. They would have you believe that they invented everything and that they're righteous people. They're not. Because righteous means to do right. And what do? They do wrong. Yeah? They're out of sync. They're not balanced. Yeah? They don't go by nothing in the Bible. Yeah? You got laws in the Bible, but because they're not the children of God, they're the children of Satan. They believe in that do as thou will. You know, homosexuality, you know, child molestation, lesbianism, cross-dressing, bestiality, you know, they call it bestiality, as having sexual relations with animals. And that's who they are. They're the Edomites. As you can see here, look where my finger is. Edomites, man. The wild man, yeah? So read that again.
It says in Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 2, before the creep and forth, before the day passes the chaff.
Right, before the day passes the creep and before the day passes the chaff. Now what's he talking about? The day passes the chaff. This day. This is what he's talking about. And we're on our way now to this day passing as a chaff. Yeah? We need to the Messiah. Yeah? We know?
Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of Yahweh's anger come upon you.
Right, before the fierce anger of the Micah 2 and 10. Before the fierce anger of the Lord cometh upon you. So we're giving a message to our people, the blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians. This day is coming. Yeah? Why? Because of slavery. You didn't get away with it. You thought you could build your society off of 400 to 500 years of free labour, but you're not going to get away with it. You didn't believe, you believe there is no God, but there is. Right? There is a God, and he's going to deliver his people. And all our people who are joined to these other nations are going to go down with him. Yeah? They're going to get burned up with him.
Now hand join hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. It says here, Micah chapter 2, verse 10, arise ye and depart, this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you even with a sword destruction.
Right, so it says arise and depart. Right? Depart how? We can't jump on a private jet like these Edomites can do. It's talking about mentally, arise and mentally come out of the ways of Babylon the Great, her philosophies. Because our people have decided, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. No, you can't be a homosexual, you can't be a lesbian, and you can't be a transgender, because you're God's chosen people. You was given laws and commandments to keep. That's why you're at the bottom being called a monkey, a baboon, a coon, a bow and arrow, a spick, a wetback. So we're out here to warn you, because this day's coming, it's around the corner. And whoever don't come back, they're going to burn up with these other nations. Right? So read that again.
It says here, Micah chapter 2, verse 10.
Right?
Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction.
It's polluted. Not only do you chemtrails and barium oxide in your water, they've polluted the minds of these people, saying 2 men can marry and adopt children, 2 women. Sammy's got 2 mummies, and Sandra or Sally's got 2 fathers. You can't do that, man. That's against God's law. That's why this place is going to go up in fire. Yeah? You already had it before when he told you. You get it a minute. Hold that again. Jude 1 and 7. Right? Get that quickly and then go back to that scripture. Jude 1 and 7. Right? So we're out here warning our people. These other nations, it's already decreed that they're going into slavery when that black guy comes back, Jesus Christ. Yeah? He is the white guy. You lied to us again. Told us that Jesus is a white guy. Yeah? So many lies. That's why your destruction is at hand. And this is your destruction, the final countdown. Yeah? You're going to burn, baby, burn. Yeah? And then Jesus tried to fight it. He's having a 2 minutes. So it's imperative that you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, yeah, of Indian and Negroid descent, get yourselves right, because this day's, you know this day's coming, sir?
Yeah, see it, yeah.
Where are you from? What country are you from? Come here, I want to talk to you.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Come over here.
I don't really like this, I don't.
Huh? What country are you from?
I'm from this country.
What's your background? Bournemouth. Oh, so you're an Englishman?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Do you know a lot about your history?
A lot of history?
Yeah.
I suppose not most, yeah.
Okay. Do you know King James? Do you know who King James was?
Yeah, what, the first, yeah.
Yeah, the first.
Bible, yeah.
Yeah. How about King James II? Yeah, dude.
No, he was Scottish, wasn't he?
No, King James I was Scottish.
Oh,
Right? He was what? The 6th of Scotland and the 1st of England. Yeah? You know that, innit?
Yeah.
Now, what colour was he?
I imagined that he was white, but I
Right,
suppose you're gonna
see
tell
that's
me
what
that
you've been
that's not
told.
the case, yeah.
Did you know, have you heard of the Dark Ages?
Dark Ages. Yeah, sure.
Did you know from the Dark Ages, from the 1400s, yeah, I'll tell you, from 193 AD, have you heard of a man called Septimius Severus? Septimius Severus.
The name rings a bell.
Right, he was the emperor of Rome,
Right.
yeah? He was a contemporary of Basilius Niger. You know like you say nigger?
Right.
Did you know nigger is in the Bible?
No.
Did you know the Jews was called niggers?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, the Acts. I'm going to show you in the Bible that the Jews was called niggers.
Correct.
Yes, because you know when you see Jesus Christ, you know when you see Jesus, because Jesus was a Jew, wasn't he?
Yes.
Right? He's from the tribe of what?
Of Judah.
Right. So, who's this?
That is the westernized depiction of Jesus.
Right. But did you know Jesus is a black guy? They hid it from us.
I know.
Right, so
yeah.
the same persecution we was going through the Romans, you know the Romans what?
Yes.
Who were they?
They were some Italians.
Right, and how can we
Roman
identify
Empire,
them?
yeah.
If you to say, oh, what would be a marker of the identification of the Romans? Would you say they're dark people? Would you say they look Chinese? What would you say they look like?
I don't know. I wasn't.
The Romans are so-called white people, we call them today.
Sure.
What do you call yourself? A white man?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, you got it right? Read that.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, and Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger.
That was called. Pronounce it how it's called. It's not called Niger. Right. Read that again.
So see, the book
I'm
of
going to
Acts,
show you in the concordance.
13.
Read it how it's supposed to be read. Not nine. There's nothing nine.
Says here, the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, and Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger.
Right. So let's see.
Princes of Cyrene and Manasseh.
Have you ever heard of the concordance?
No.
Right. This is the concordance. Right. This is the scripture it's reading. Right? Yeah. When we go to Simeon, that was called Niger. Yeah. So let's press on that. Right. Yeah. And let's go back and let's see how they pronounce it.
Strong's G 3526. Niger.
Right.
Niger.
Right? You see what I mean?
Sure.
So the
Okay,
prophets,
what's the point of that?
what's the point?
Yeah.
Because we was, hold it down. The point is, we was told that this was Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Get Revelations 1 and 13 as well. So when we got off the slave ships, yeah,
Yeah.
this is what they told us to believe
Right,
in. This is Jesus. They know that we're spiritual people. Unlike your people, you're not really spiritual. Would you say the so-called white man is spiritual?
No.
He's not, is he? He's more carnal. He has to see things, doesn't he?
I don't know, but that is a generalization.
No, it's true. A majority of white people are asking, I've been out there, why you believe in God? No. They don't believe in God. Because you know why? They think that they are God. Because they splice genes, yeah?
Right.
They do stuff like that.
Sure.
But what we've got to realise is it was given their rulership. Their rulership was given to them.
Right.
And as you can see, do you know about history? The Egyptians ruled, the
No.
Babylonians. Did you know about the rulerships they had?
Yes.
Right.
A little bit.
Well, so what, they're not ruling today, are they?
No.
So everybody has a dispensation of time to rule. And we're coming to the end of the Greco-Roman Empire, the so-called white man's rule. We're coming to the end of it now. And it's going to culminate in this. Because you see what's happening in Russia and all that, innit?
Yes.
This is the culmination.
Right.
Why? Because of slavery. God's chosen. We are God's chosen.
Sure.
Right? So read that.
Revelation.
Yeah, 1 and 13. We're going to see what Jesus looked like. Tell me if this is it.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13.
Right?
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Who's the Son of Man? You're an educated guy, now I can see.
The Son of Man.
Yeah, who's the Son of, who's known as the Son of Man?
What, Jesus?
Yeah, Jesus. See, right, got it. Right, read
Read
on.
about the patch and the golden girdle.
So Jesus wore a golden pax. Yeah, you know what a pax area is? It's around your waist. Because when back in the ancient world, they used to carry swords, and when you try and stab someone, they would guard your pax area. But he had a golden one because why?
A boxer's metallic.
Yeah, you know, like a boxer's belt. You see that one? But this one's protect. That was just to show that you're a champion. This one is for protection, right? So it was gold because he was who? He was the king of the Jews, and plus he was the lineage of King David. He was king. Yeah? Jesus come out of the lineage of King David.
That's, I think, a little bit like tenuous.
What do you mean? What? As in, how do you mean?
Just from like an archaeological point of view.
That what?
That Jesus was descended from David. I understand that you might believe it from a theoretical.
Get Matthew's 1:21. Get Matthew's 1. We're going to show you the lineage. To have a generation, what you got to have?
I understand this lineage, yeah, I'm familiar with this one. I just mean that it's not necessarily backed up by archaeological record.
It is backed up by every archaeological record, but what they ain't telling you that. They're not giving you that because what they want to do, they want to hide it.
Who?
The powers that be, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the ruling class. You've got a ruling class in this society what owns you. That's why you got a birth certificate and you got a national insurance number. They float you on the stock market. Yeah, they trade with you. They trade you. You understand? Yeah, that's what it is. Now read that.
Matthew chapter 1, verse 1.
Right.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ.
Stop there. The book of the generation. To have a generation, you've got to have a lineage.
I was talking from like historical, from like
Right,
archaeological.
okay.
If you didn't necessarily believe that this was the word, then you probably want some other evidence.
There is plenty of
to support
evidence.
this claim.
Like I said, there's plenty of evidence of what it is. All right, let me ask you this. Was there evidence of Julius Caesar?
He's
Right, so Jesus Christ went before. How about Pontius Pilate? So Jesus Christ went before Pontius Pilate. But they don't. Right, so that means he existed then. But what it is.
I'm not saying he didn't exist.
Right, what are you saying that means? What are you talking about?
It's not. I'm saying that he most likely existed,
Right.
but there's no evidence that he was descended from King David.
So let's read
Apart from
generation.
the scripture.
More, to get knowledge, you've got to get it from a book.
Sure.
This is a record.
Sure.
Right.
But like archaeology is
Yeah.
like it's like a I think quite esteemed subject,
Right.
which is not necessarily yeah, of course, basic faith, but it's not. But in my faith, archaeology is not necessarily as influenced by politics as some other schools of thought.
What is your faith?
You believe in the Bible?
You
You believe in the Bible, yes or no?
No.
Right. So that's what
No,
they
but I
determine.
don't disbelieve things just because they're in the Bible.
Okay. Do you believe there's a God?
It depends how you define it, but I don't believe in a personal God.
That he's a man, what does manly things, what built this world. See this tree here, designed that.
I'd say no.
Right, so you would say that was what? How did that come about?
Probably, I mean, you're going to hate this, but probably evolution.
Right, evolution. Sorry, evolution. You're what's that? Darwinist. You're a Darwinist, yeah?
And you do know Darwin on his deathbed, he denounced his
Right, because he was funded by the Rothschilds.
Yeah,
It's a lie to the
you
people.
can Google that, look it up. He denounced everything.
Yeah, right.
It's very
So,
common, yeah.
so Darwinism is the Big Bang, isn't it? Big Bang theory, isn't it?
That's one.
One theory, isn't it?
Theory, which
Right,
is
so what is the Big Bang Theory? It was a cataclysmic event, and out of them come the planets and whatnot, yeah? An explosion, yeah? Right, so if we take that theory then, I should be able to go into the shop there, go into the Tesco's, get a cake mix, you know, put the powder, the butter, the milk, and mix it up, put loads of fireworks in it, light it, and run, and when it blows up, I should have a cake. That's the Darwin theory. Because out of that explosion, I should have a cake. Right, you see what I mean? But that's pathetic. That sounds
But if
pathetic
you
to
think
me.
that you did that let's say, 1,000,000 times,
Yeah.
maybe one of those times you would have something that kind of...
Oh, what, a cake? Yeah.
Yeah. There's slightly different conditions going
Now
on.
you're stretching. We call it
1,000 million.
reaching.
Do it
We call it
1,000,000,000
reaching.
times.
Huh?
Do it 1,000,000,000 times.
Yeah, now you're reaching. Yeah, look, all you have a cake.
You can have no cake.
Yeah, so that's Darwin.
That's the right mentality.
Yeah, I know, but that's
What
what I'm
if I
trying to
did
say.
it and my father had done it? And
Yeah,
my
but you're gonna get the
grandfather
same.
did
You're
it?
gonna get the same conclusion. You're gonna get cake mix up the wall, on the ceiling.
Maybe
You know what I mean?
99 times, 99 million times out of 100.
I would go and put a bet on it that it's going to be 1,000,000 times. If you do it 1,000,000 times, you're going to be cleaning 1,000,000 times. Cake mix off the wall. You know what I mean? Right. We're just going to get what it is. If you want to know, we're out here because we're at the end of days.
Sure.
Right? It's going to, like I said, it's going to culminate in nuclear war. It's written in the Bible.
So what are you going to do about that?
What I'm doing, what me and my brother are doing now, is making our call and election sure. Because you don't believe in God, you don't believe there's an entity, but we do. We know there's an entity because this happened to us, slavery, right? And that's written in there. He said he would do that to us, our God, the God of the Hebrews, because you know, like in Sunday they go to church and Jesus and God. He's already, you know, everybody's for everybody, you know, and everybody knows John 3:16. John, you know, have you heard of John 3:16?
No, I don't know.
It's God so loved the world. So they think that God sent his son Jesus to die for the whole world. Right? But that's garbage. Yeah? That's what they call fables. God only died for the Israelites. See, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
So you believe some things in here, but not all?
I believe everything in that Bible. Because, you know, if you know
You think
about the
it's
Rothschilds,
misinterpreted?
no, it's not. Because we can go into the Hebrew. See what I showed you, the concordance?
Yeah.
That's the Hebrew.
Right.
When you go into the Hebrew, remember, in English, it's really a bastard language. You see what I mean?
Mistranslation.
Yeah. But when you go into the Hebrew, you get the right understanding. Because it's from the scrolls. Yeah? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah? Then you've got the Greek, the Koine Greek, they call it Alexandrian tongue. Because the New Testament was translated into Greek.
Yes.
Right?
Was it not in Aramaic before that? Aramaic before Hebrew, was it?
No, it's always been the Hebrew, because Hebrew is the foundation of all language. So that's one for that, the only time. The Syrian Hebrew will come after that. Yeah? It come from a guy called Aram. Yeah? That's where you get that.
The Dead Sea Scrolls, what language are they?
Huh?
What language are the Dead Sea Scrolls?
They're from the original. The original tongue is called Lashawan Kodash. That's what it's called, the holy tongue. Yeah. Just like babies when you hear a baby speak when they're young, that's Hebrew. Papa, mama. They use that sort of tone. You understand? Da, ga, za. That's the way babies speak. So he can show you that without the baby knowing, they're speaking their original tongue. Right. Read that.
2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20.
Right.
Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
Right. No prophecy. You can't say that it's a private interpretation. What it says, just like when it says, Revelations 13 and 9, his hair was black. You can't get
It's a translation,
woolly.
not an interpretation.
No, it's been translated from the scrolls.
But a translation is an interpretation of a text. You might get multiple translations which say slightly different
Have you
things.
got
Because that's how the translator chooses.
Now we're going to show you how to do it, because remember, you get certain people what translate. If the king gets something translated, who's he going to get it translated by? The best, isn't it?
Sure, but they're not necessarily like completely.
But they're
infallible.
scholars. No, but they're scholars.
Right.
Who do all the research.
Yeah,
Let's see how
but
it goes.
sometimes scholars disagree.
No,
on the
we're
translation.
going to see how they disagree. Let's see how intricate they went to get it on point. And you've got to realise, this is not only man you're stealing, this is actual the powers. That's what you don't believe in, there is a God. You're going to find that when he sends that black guy back in it. Yeah? Because he's going to destroy the so-called Caucasian world with nuclear missiles. This is what's coming. Now read that. King James Version. King James Version. If you talk about King James the first, it's a black man, by the way. No, but Caucasian. It says here,
Elizabeth died in 1603.
Right.
The Count passed to James I.
Right.
Then the King of Scotland for 37 years. James V.
Right.
7 months after he was sent in the throne of England, he offered a new translation of the Bible to replace the Bishop Bible.
James VI.
That's right, King James VI. Replace the Bishop Bible.
Like the Bishop's Bible was set up by the, I think it was called the Protestants. Yeah? So, right?
I tell you something. You know the guy.
We'll realise when the word comes out, someone comes up, they know that it's a spirit. We're going to realise this is a spiritual war. Because you went to sleep last night, didn't you? And how did you know what you done during your sleep?
No, I assume I just lay there.
Right, you just lay there in the stasis, isn't it? Yeah? So that's a spiritual thing in itself. Why do you need to sleep? That's what I'm trying to say, it's a spiritual thing. Your makeup is, you need to sleep to regenerate. And plus, when you're sleeping, you're programmed by the powers that be. You ain't going to believe it because you're so-called, you're Caucasian. You need some kind of tangible reason. There's nothing spiritual about your makeup, see?
Well, but I can't refuse to sleep all night.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You can't refuse because you've been programmed to do it.
King James VI, several months after he ascended the throne of England, he authorized a new
Abdicated,
authorized of the Bible to replace the Bishop's Bible. 47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars of the day were divided into 6 groups, 3 for the Old Testament, 2 for the New Testament, and 1 for the Apocrypha.
Right, so how many books in the Bible is there? Do you know?
Which Bible?
The King James. Let's stick with the King James.
Like 30, let's say?
66 books, yeah? That's what they say. But it's 80 books.
Oh, that was like the Ethiopian one, right?
No. It's the King James version. But what it has, that book in the Apocrypha.
The Apocrypha, yeah.
Right, in 1776, the Bible Destruction Book took that out.
Oh, I understand this, yeah.
Right, you know that, innit?
Yeah.
Why did they take that out?
I've asked myself the same question.
Right, because it hid a lot of history, Antiochus, Alexander. Do you know Alexander the Greek's in that book as well? Yeah. They took it out because it told you that when the so-called Caucasians come into power, evils multiply. Because do you know about the Renaissance period and all that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Right, the Renaissance period is when the rebirth of the Roman Empire, because you fell in 193. I told you about it, Septimius Severus. Right? Because what you've got to realise, the Dark Ages, what do they tell you about the Dark Ages?
That's actually, that's pretty good description actually, because they really found like Roman architecture, they found a lot of like Greek science and
right, but what you've got to realise, all that come from the Negroes, the black people, right? The Renaissance was a rebirth of so-called white people coming back into power. Because we had you in captivity for 1,000 years during the Dark Ages. That's why it was called the Dark Ages. Right? Because dark people ruled. They told you because there was no wisdom, it was a dark time. Right? The Byzantine Empire, the Byzantine, they call it or whatever, Byzantine, that was us. But you know what Byzantine means? It means a backward empire. Because it was us ruling, they said it was a backward empire. But look at the architecture during that time compared to now. This is nothing, putting a brick together. Go and look at the Houses of Parliament. How that was put together. That wasn't you guys, that was us. How about the castles, the knights and the round table and all that? All these castles. That was us. Right, knights. Check that time out, the knights at the round table. What colour would that be if it was night? Dark. We've got day, we're in daylight now, we've got night. So what you're going to realise, what you've learned, what they've taught you, is just garbage, really, a lot of lies.
What your people are doing, your people are the nation like you. They say this history that we learn like, in our schools and stuff like that, that's the curriculum that your nation is doing.
Right, say the Edomites, the Caucasians, of course. They're the ones in power.
That's why I said their tongue is running through the earth. Because obviously, the people, the Caucasian of Congo, so they've conquered the nation. Obviously, the most I've got underneath because we follow your philosophy.
You personally, us, everybody's followed the Caucasians.
Yeah, but that's after we founded it.
Yeah.
Because before that, they was following us. So you have to. It came to a point where obviously you guys came into power, and since then, obviously your tongue running through the earth, you've captured the history, historical events, taken our history, and claimed most of it as yourself.
Right,
So you think you've rewritten history because you know the history. So you
That's what they say. Whoever,
and
and that's what it tells you. Whoever controls the history can rewrite. You understand? Because you had us in slavery, you knocked the bollocks. Let's say you knocked the bollocks off of us. Because actually, you beat the Hebrew. You beat our. It's not about it. Have you seen the slave movies? Isn't it? Have you ever watched 12 Years a Slave? Do you remember the beginning?
Yeah.
What happened in the beginning?
I think he beats and rapes someone.
No, what it was in the beginning, there was these white guys, and he was a what was he? What instrument did he play?
What instrument?
Yeah, the violin, wasn't he?
I can't remember,
He was a good violinist, and he said, "What we're going to do? We're
Is
going
that
to take
Leonardo
you."
DiCaprio?
No, you're talking about Django. We're talking about 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I remember like crying at that.
Right, the beginning was when he met up with the two white guys. They was impressed with his violin skills. Right? And he said, "What we're going to do? We're going to take you all over Europe. We're going to promote you." Well, what did they do to him? They sold him. They got him drunk and they sold him. And then he said, "I'm a free man." Then the man came with a plank of wood and broke it on his back. Do you remember that part? Right. So this is what it's about. The history of the so-called Negroes. We are the Hebrew Israelites. Same way George Floyd, you've beaten us, Sandra Bland, the American cops done us down over here until they got cameras. They was doing all kind of things to us in police stations, you know.
I went to the marches for George Floyd. Yeah.
You went to
Marches
for George Floyd. That's good on you. Maybe we'll have mercy on you when the Lord comes. I don't know. Maybe.
No, but
Right.
George Floyd, he's a racist, so it's good. I understand where you're marching for, but obviously the type of society we live in, it's just not going to come into fruition. It's like
Yeah, but
everything that's forgotten about.
yeah, bro, it don't matter if he's a Mason. The image of him getting his knee on his neck, it's a black guy with cops.
Yes,
It don't matter about him being a Mason. That's the projection of them subjugating us, you know, having us under duress. That's it, oppressing us. That's
See
the
someone ripped down the recruitment poster for the Met. I think.
for what?
They had like a big billboard, like recruitment poster.
Oh, for police.
Yeah, and someone's ripped off.
Yeah, now they've got the cameras in that. Before, that's what they're upset about. Because they've got the cameras and all that now, so they can't, you know?
Yeah.
Let's pick on those niggas. You know what I mean?
But see, the cops will recruit us to make it seem like yeah, because obviously, when our people in the cop system, our people now are used for